A new Android-powered retro handheld was just announced, and it looks like dual-screen paradise. Google launched the Pixel 10 series this week, but also announced a new version of Gemini called Gemini for Home, and it might cost you a subscription fee. Finally, the silly Trump phone has gone through a glow-up recently, and by that I mean that the phone doesn't look anything like it originally did, which leads us to ask, does this phone even exist? I'm C. Scott Brown, and it's time for a quick roundup of the biggest tech news that you need to know about. Android-powered retro gaming handhelds with 2 displays have been a rarity, but recently that's been changing. We saw a new one this week that looks wild. A company called AYN introduced a new handheld called Thor, and it looks like the one device that can do all the emulation you could ever need. If you follow this space at all, you'll know that AYN, which despite having a similar looking name is not the same company, launched a dual screen Android handheld called Pocket DS. That handheld looks amazing, but this new AYN Thor looks like it might top it, at least based on aesthetics. The Thor looks like it is cut from glass and has 2 large displays in the traditional Nintendo 3DS layout and aspect ratio. It has 2 inset sticks in an offset configuration and all the typical buttons one would need to play pretty much any game, modern or retro. There's also a headphone jack, a USB-C port, and what looks like a place for SD cards. We don't know much about specs yet, but we do know it will be powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon processor because the teaser video launched this week includes the Qualcomm logo. It is possible that this handheld could come with the Snapdragon G3 Gen 3, which is the best-in-class chip from Qualcomm that's specifically designed for gaming handhelds like this. However, it's also possible it could have the Snapdragon G3X Gen 2, which is not the top-end model. We'll need to wait and see which of the terribly named Snapdragon processors end up in this bad boy. That's right, Qualcomm, I'm making fun of your processor names again. If you want me to stop knocking them, you need to get better at naming them. Anyway, because this handheld will run on Snapdragon and Android, it will almost certainly undercut the very expensive Windows-based handhelds we see in this space. The AYN Pocket DS will have a price that puts it around $400, which seems pretty fair. Hopefully, we'll see this AYN Thor land at around the same price, although if it has a better processor, it could be a bit more expensive. Time will tell. If you want to find out more about this or just learn more about gaming handhelds in general, be sure to check out the links in the description below, which will take you straight to AndroidAuthority.com. Also, don't forget that we have a few other cool places where you can learn all about what's going on in Android, including our second Android Authority YouTube channel, our brand new podcast hosted by the king of Android himself, Mishaal Rahman, and of course, my channel, where I focus a lot on Pixel phones. All those links will be down below, so check them out. Our next story today centers on the massive Google launch that happened earlier this week. As pretty much everyone watching this will know, Google launched the highly anticipated Pixel 10 series of phones, as well as the Pixel Watch 4 and the Pixel Buds 2a. If somehow you missed this, really, I don't know how that would be possible, but hey, maybe you're a hobbit living in the Shire or something. I don't judge.
Stupid fat hobbit.
We have a video up here that tells you what you need to know about the Pixel 10 series, so check that out. One other thing Google announced though was that Gemini is coming to home devices. That means your current Google Home speakers and displays that run on Google Assistant are going to shift to Gemini. What's more, this is going to be a slightly different version of Gemini known as Gemini for Home. So, what does this mean? Well, at the outset, nothing will really change. You'll still say, hey, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to trigger all your stuff, but you know what I'm going to say. Anyway, you say, hey, and then give your command, and Gemini will do its thing. However, because Gemini is more advanced than Google Assistant, you'll be able to give more complex commands and be able to issue them using more relaxed language. For example, instead of asking to listen to a specific song, you can just say something like, play the Song of the Year winner from 1996, and it will understand that that means Seal's Kiss from a Rose, which is still a banger all these years later. I don't care what any of you say. You'll also be able to issue multiple requests within one command. For example, you could say dim the lights and set the temp to 72 degrees, and it will do both things. You can also give slightly confusing commands and it will get what you mean, such as turn off the lights everywhere except my bedroom. Of course, Google is still at the core here, so you can also request general information, such as what's the best place in town to get shrimp scampi, or Who is the tech YouTuber with the red glasses and seems to wear the same outfit every single day? Gemini Live is also supported, so you'll be able to talk to your smart speaker in a natural conversational style. Basically, all the things you can do with Gemini on your phone are coming to your smart speakers, which is really cool. Although, this does mean that Google Assistant is going away, which will be a bit sad. The familiar assistant voice has been a mainstay in households for years, so it'll almost be like we're losing a member of the family. Ugh. That got a bit dark. Sorry about that. So the crazy thing about all this, though, is that Gemini for Home might not be totally free. In its press release announcing this news, Google said this: over time, Gemini for Home will replace Google Assistant on existing speakers and displays with free and paid versions. The way I read this is that the core features of Gemini will be free, but more advanced features will require some sort of subscription fee. I'm not sure how to feel about this because Google Assistant never cost extra money, so it's weird that Google might try to charge for Gemini doing basically the same thing. Stay tuned, as we'll definitely have more to tell you about this later this year. Rumors also suggest we'll see new Google Home hardware this year at some point, so that's something to get excited about. I have one more quick story for you today. Remember, 2 months ago, I told you about the Trump phone, a definitely Chinese-made, gold-colored Android phone that President Donald Trump's sons are selling. Well, something is fishy about the phone. I know, you all thought this was completely legitimate business venture with nothing shady going on in the background, because shady and Trump are two things that never go together. But if you can believe it, things are getting weird. So this is the Trump phone as we originally saw it when it was announced 2 months ago. It looked like a Chinese iPhone knockoff, the kind of thing you'd find sold by a street vendor in a large city for cash only. Well, this is the phone as it was just shown in some new marketing materials from Trump Mobile. I don't know about you, but I see two very different phones here. I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but from where I'm sitting, I see an iPhone knockoff in the first image, and then I see an actual iPhone in the second image. Is it possible that Trump Mobile is pulling a bait and switch and using iPhone designs to sell a phone that only kind of looks like an iPhone? The look of the phone isn't the only thing that's changed over time. Originally, the Trump phone was advertised as being proudly designed and built in the United States. But now the website instead says the phone is designed with American values in mind. Those are two very different statements that don't even remotely mean the same thing. For the record, I pre-ordered the Trump phone just to find out what the hell is going on with it, and I have heard nothing so far. In 2 months, I haven't received even one email about when I'm going to get the phone or any other bits of information. I'm beginning to feel like this is a scam, and I'll never actually see the phone on my doorstep. I guess I'll just need to continue waiting. Anyway, that's it for this roundup. If you want to dive deeper into these stories, be sure to check all the links down below. Remember to like and subscribe so you'll be notified as soon as the next roundup goes live. See you all soon.